How's it going, everybody? Carpo here. I figure I'll give you a nice view of the rainy, crappy, drizzly day that it is here in Portland. And it's been one of those days. Not a lot to do but sit inside and watch movies, and I was just about to fall asleep, and I thought I'd just wake my ass up, and damn it, I'm not going to collapse this early. It's still 7 o'clock. So, came out here and decided I wanted to make a video about a particular subject, and not I guess it's not necessarily one subject, is it ever? Um, but rather, what kind, what happens to the cool kids, right? And there's a lot of youngsters out there who are in school, and I forget what it was like to be in school sometimes, and once in a while I remember, damn it, I was a nerd, okay? I got picked on all the time. I had all kinds of problems in school. I moved around from place to place, and then 6th grade I moved to Oregon City and had some bully pick on me the first day, never left me alone all year. Got into junior high, and I was at Lake Oswego, which is like kind of the yuppie town, and I had no money. So, I wasn't one of the rich kids. So I ended up hanging out with the stoner type, I guess, even though we didn't smoke pot at all. But anyway, we got into high school, and same problems. Ended up going to like 3 different schools and 2 alternative schools, and all these different things happened. And during that whole time, I met a lot of kids who were the, quote, cool kids, or the popular kids, or the jocks. And it always seems like in the end, they always had all kinds of problems, especially later on in school. And I kind of look back, and of course I would scoff, because I would say, you're feeling vindicated as a kid that, all the parents thought was going to be a complete failure. I'm sure some of my relatives thought I'd end up in prison or dead. I think, I think one of my relatives even said that once, or at least assumed as much, because, I won't even get into it, but we've got, all kinds of problems in our lives and all kinds of misconceptions about one another, of course. But I never really had a very tight family except for my direct family, which was my mom and my brother. So, the other relatives just kind of came and went. My dad died when I was 15, so other than that, see, here I go off on separate subjects, but it all makes sense. It's all tied together. Trust me. So there's a lot of kids out there who, I had to grow up with some hard times, and a lot of kids grew up with, like, say, 2 parents and a stable household, and, steady income, no worries, and they always ended up being the ones who had to go to treatment because their parents were so damn ignorant. They would send them to treatment after they smoked pot a couple times, Well, why not if you can afford it, right? Put your kid through misery when they don't need it, but, I guess I can't blame parents for being scared and dumb. So a few of my friends had to go through that kind of stuff, and like one of my buddies who went through treatment ended up joining the military, and then he went through all this shit where he's got PTSD now, and I just, I haven't talked to him in a long time, but the point being that everybody has their little issues in life, and when you're trying to be something, I guess if you're trying to be a bully, if you're the kind of person who likes to pick on people to make yourself feel better, or that joins in any type of bullying or harassment towards others, knock that shit off, man. For real. I mean, I guess that's kind of the message I guess I wanted to get across here. Because I doubt there's many bullies out there listening to this video, but if you are, or at least you have a bullyish heart, knock that shit off. I mean, it doesn't serve anyone. Everyone suffers because of it. And I also wanted to say that if you're one of the guys who gets bullied, and it's funny, because when I was thinking about it, at first I didn't think I was the kind of guy who got bullied. You look back in retrospect on your life and you think it was different than it was. But when I carefully analyzed it, I realized everywhere I moved, I got harassed. I moved out when I was, 4th grade out to Hillsboro, or out to Beaverton, and I'd get harassed by the kids in the apartment complex. Well, when I was like 9, I was, the kid across the street would throw rocks at me. He'd have rock wars, but I had to take the roof, so I was an easy target. I remember coming home with a bloody head at like 9. Then we moved out to this other place, and there was these Mexican guys, or no, there were black guys in there, one guy named Alfonso, and they would take our G.I. Joe guys and shit. Then we moved out to Beaverton, and we got harassed by these other 2 kids. Then we got kicked out of there because my brother and I. Then we moved out to Hillsboro, got harassed by Mexicans out there, and they would put huge dirt clods on our back, make us count to 100, and shit like that, just... then I ended up moving out to Oregon City, getting beat up by some other kid, and then went to Lake Oswego and got constantly harassed by jocks and preppies, and that's, I guess, where this stems from. Just how much I despise the idiots. They were complete morons, making it through school based on their fucking football scores, and maybe that's part of why I just hate sports. It's not the competition I hate, because I actually enjoy competition. If it's good, healthy competition where, 2 people that know each other, or even if they don't, just to gain from it. But if it's the kind of thing where you're just watching other people play sports, I just never understood that. And I'm not going to diss, because probably a huge percentage of people out there watch sports of one kind or another, and that's cool, if that's what moves you. My brother's been trying to get me to even play disc golf for years now, and I'm like, dude, I ain't into it. I know it's fun, and I know people have a great time. I'm not a competitive person anymore. And it's probably because of watching so much male testosterone and competition. And maybe it's just settling down to know that the true alpha male has wisdom, not physical strength. And I always knew that when I was young. And I never strove to be really super intelligent or anything, and I didn't know a whole lot until I left school and finally got out on my own and started to really learn about life. And then I decided I wanted to educate myself. And I was pretty smart in school, of course. I was in spelling bee when I was in grade school, and I ended up kind of being ahead of myself as far as being good at tests, but I always failed class, so I never had the credits to graduate. I never went to college, never graduated high school, but I knew all the information I needed. I was book smart, and I've always had very good English skills and, editing skills, if you will. I know how punctuation works, and maybe I've used that to my advantage to believe that I have one up on some people. But hey, spell check has changed that over the years. Now everybody can sound like a genius with their spell check. But, that's not all the more reason for some people to feel inferior when they're in an actual conversation and they have to bring up these, things and understand them. And, maybe that sounds a little pious, but I wanted to just say that I think that those of us who spend and dedicate time to educating ourselves on the world around us, how things work, as at least to be a worldly people, not intellectuals, not, academics, but just worldly people. I believe we deserve to give ourselves credit. Just like somebody who's worked out and they can look at their muscles and say, I feel healthy, I feel energized, when you're using your brain, they say it's like a muscle. So, you should be able to give yourself credit if you're the kind of person who understands what I'm talking about here, where you've spent all this time dedicated to trying to be fair to people and nice to people and kind, and all you've been is shit on by other people. And it's funny, because even when I got out of high school, I got ripped off by some of my best friends who stole shit from me. And I ended up forgiving them over time, and I talked to them, so it's not a big deal. It's people are going to fuck you over in life. And I guess the reason why I say that is because there's so many folks who shut down after they've been bothered or harassed or ripped off or anything one time. I've had my car stolen out of my driveway and broken into several times. I've had people steal shit from my house, shit that was my family heirlooms, tweakers stealing stuff, and I've been narked off by people and had my weed crop stolen, all kinds of shit. And it's just like I let it all go. And then I hear somebody complaining because, so-and-so caused them some kind of grief. And maybe it's just because I've had so much fucking adversity in my life that I don't even realize it's adversity. And maybe that's why I can embrace life a little bit better than some of the people around me, because I'm so sick of hearing whiners. And whenever I do, I turn myself away from them. And I finally surrounded myself with positive people. However, exposing myself to the internet changes all of that. It makes it more likely that I'm going to run into some of the douchebags. It's still a beautiful day out here. I just figured I'd come out on camera for a minute here. It's a beautiful thing to be alive and to find yourself and understand yourself. But I sit out and contemplate who I am and realize it really doesn't matter sometimes, but that it does matter. That I'm not going to let the people out there who haven't set any goals or values or standards for themselves affect the way I think about the world. Because there are a lot of people who act like life sucks. I just say, why are you talking about it? Go moan to somebody else. Or rather, are you fishing for attention? It's like when people talk about suicide and then they explain it's because they lost their job or something. I'm like, on one hand I want to say, I'm sorry, man, that you feel that way. Maybe it's more brain chemistry related. But on the other hand, I think, man up, because I've seen a lot of hard times too in my life. And you just got to pull through. And you go back and forth between saying, oh, am I lucky? Or have I created my luck? So, I guess that's it for this video. I'm going to go back inside. I'll talk to y'all later.